Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Patreon bonus time is here. That's right, we're talking about The Hitchhiker, HBO's nudie suspense thriller show. For some fucking reason, on Kill by Kill, my name is Patrick Hamilton, and honestly, I couldn't do anything on this podcast without the one and only Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing, Gina?
I'm good. I'm disappointed, and I feel like I've let you down in some way with this episode.
I don't think it would have been a monumental surprise to watch an episode of The Hitchhiker and go, well, this is a solid little thriller. Wow, they've really got it together. But the cast of this, you would think, oh man, there must have been something happening here. Otherwise, why would all these people sign up for it? And I guess the answer is they needed some quick cash.
The tensest part of of the whole episode is like a dot matrix printer that somehow runs by itself.
That's the Ghost Rider. At a certain point, I was wondering if
you're right.
I was wondering if Dafoe was an actual fucking ghost, because when the little girl comes up to him and he's reading one single page of a newspaper. Just the newspaper is 4 sides. That's it. A single sheet newspaper. And for reasons untold, asks William Dafoe, "Are you a ghost?" And he leans in like he's about to turn into the Green Goblin. He goes, "I am a ghost." Maybe he's a real fucking ghost. I don't know.
We should probably explain to the youths in the audience what the Hitchhiker was.
Sure, let's do that.
If you are over the age of 40, I'll say over the age of 35, and your parents had HBO in the 80s into the early 90s, it is extremely likely that the Hitchhiker was your first exposure, no pun intended, to softcore pornography.
It was the reverse cowgirl of HBO at the time, whereas now everyone has to have sex with a woman facing the camera. There, it just took at least one scene of breasts to qualify as sexy.
Yeah, and that was a point where Hollywood discovered boob jobs.
Yes.
So we see a lot of those. Often not very good.
No, well, I mean, it wasn't the time for great boob jobs. Great was you didn't die from it, I think.
That's true. Yeah, that they did not use tire sealant to make your breasts larger.
Exactly.
It's basically like, what if we did Hitchcock with full frontal?
Yes, but dumb.
Very, very dumb. Everybody is either a victim or just a mustache twirling villain.
Yeah.
In this one, I'm not sure who the villain is.
They're everyone but Emmett Walsh.
Everybody is involved in this very complicated faking of someone's death. Yes. Because solely on the premise that if I'm a failed writer in life, surely when I die my books will become successful. Which, sure, I guess. I mean,
maybe. I mean, that's a tough play. Really, honestly, it's like Barry Bostwick is selling a bill of goods to everyone on this, and then Madeline Sherwood just sweeps in a blue muumuu and
she's like a fifth Golden Girl in this episode.
And she's like, "Are there parts of the set that are still standing? I have been eating for 15 minutes." And you're chomp, 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 chomp. You're like, you're not even fucking involved in this. Why are you acting so hard?
Yeah, the entire plot of this scheme that involves faked suicides and eventually actual murders, again is riding entirely on the idea that his estate will make millions of dollars because suddenly everybody will become interested in his writing because he is now dead.
And weirdly enough, that turns out to be true.
It is true, but I'm not sure if that's something that bears itself out in real life. Right. The only examples I can think of in which a writer became famous only after they were deceased is maybe the writer of Confederacy of Dunces, but
and the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Oh, well, okay, all right, there, but that was after.
But I wouldn't have called him a failed writer. It's like he wrote three things and they were huge in his home country. They just didn't become popular here until after his passing for circumstances. It wasn't because of his death. It's just like people caught on to it, like, oh, that seems interesting. And
yeah, so Willem Dafoe is described as having written 6 novels and 3 short story collections.
Right.
Barry Bostwick is his agent, who swears up and down, I could sell these for millions when you're dead. Dude, you couldn't sell these when he was alive.
I know.
And it's like, why would you rely on that?
I don't know. There's so much plot crammed into the 22 minutes of actual filmed entertainment of this story. It has no breath. They're just running at full pace to try to get the double crosses out of, constantly out of the way. There's just, you don't know, this could take place in 6 hours or 16 weeks. There's just no description of time passing. It's just something that happens in quick succession, one after the other.
Well, it's worth mentioning that this was 1986, so Willem Dafoe was still relatively unknown at this point. I think Platoon came out. I want to say that came out either later in the year. Yeah, so he was on the cusp of being discovered, and honestly, he is terrible.
Everyone is terrible in this. There's Emmett Walsh, who is a reliable character actor. You could not ask for a more grounded presence. It doesn't even know where the camera is half the time, and the plot does him no favors. His police detective seems to be a complete fucking idiot. And
all I can think of is We Hate Movies impersonation of Emmett Walsh. Like, how would you rate your marriage, ma'am?
How would you rate your marriage, Gina? And then a thumbs up, thumbs down, an amount of stars, and he goes A+, C-. That's grading, sir. That's not rating.
But yeah, you've got Willem Dafoe, who you're supposed to buy as someone who has been cuckolded for Barry Bostwick.
Seems to be sexless after marriage, and there's no fucking way that Willem Dafoe in any planet isn't fucking constantly.
He's so bound up by writer's block that he can't even have sex, which I don't know that works like that.
I mean, Gina, I hate to break the illusion for people, but we are 2 writers, and that's not really how writer's block works.
No, writer's block means
I don't know how to write a sentence. Whoops, my penis doesn't work. There are other things that are going into that are not really novel-based.
He didn't have writer's block because he wrote 6 books and 3 short story collections.
So he was actually and no one cares about.
He was actually a very prolific writer, as it turned out. So that's the other thing that they are unnecessarily lying about for no discernible reason.
Yeah. And of course, there's Barry, hot sex on a platter, Bostwick, running around in what appears to be an opera coat of some fucking kind. It's the most voluminous jacket I've ever seen in my life. It appears to flow behind him as if he is Batman at a business meeting.
Yeah, Barry Bostwick, completely out of character as a total fucking scumbag.
And just the very idea, you know what? I'm very unhappy in my marriage to Willem Dafoe. The solution to this is Barry Bostwick. Holy fuck. That is dire.
What I really love is how they cannot keep their hands off of each other when Emmett Walsh is talking to them. They just keep touching each other. They keep touching.
Oh my god!
And
everyone in this presentation should be arrested, including Emmett Walsh. on dereliction of fucking duty.
Yeah, they're clearly having an affair. I mean, that little girl at the end of the episode could tell that they were having, would be able to tell that these people are having an affair.
Right.
Because again, they can't keep their hands off each other.
Yes.
And I mean, if you are going to, one of the aspects that's so confusing about this plot is at first it seems like they might have killed Jeffrey, who is Willem Dafoe's character.
Yes.
But no, they think he actually committed suicide.
Or like they?
Well, she does. What's the wife's name? Deborah?
Yes.
She thinks he did. Barry Bostwick obviously knows he did not.
Yeah.
Or does he? I don't know. This plot makes no sense.
It makes zero fucking sense. So,
and you know what also doesn't make sense? This printer that can operate by itself.
Well, I think that is one of those early word processors that you would be able to type. You would be able to type stuff into it and print whenever you wish. So it's that print. It's that old, dotted, like a film thread, paper reel is fed through it. But you could write a whole chapter and then hit print and it go and it would come out. I don't know how anyone fucking works this way. I have to see the words. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
the only way I make money is writing, and I have to see the words. I don't know how people do this.
Well, you have to write your all caps. I'm so sorry, Becky.
Sometimes I have to write a note. I had to write this down to get it out of my head, and now let's go on to what the real work. But I have to show my work. What the fuck have you been doing? Well, my process was to write out all the terrible ideas first and then write out the good ideas once I got the terrible ones out of the way.
And then hint that Barry Bostwick tried to murder you in a hot tub.
The idea of a sex scene, the first one when they go back and they're in the, the fenced, the screened in porch.
It's a real, and it's a real, you know what it is, Patrick?
What?
It's a real, have you considered my penis moment.
It really is.
Because she's mildly, maybe put out a little bit that her husband has possibly committed suicide.
Yeah.
Yes. But, Barry lays the old Bostwick charm on her and, she's, and pretty soon she's all right with him taking her shirt off.
And then he takes one bra strap off and then gets down below her. And all we see is the top of his head at her midsection. And like, what the fuck is he doing to her belly? Giving her like butterfly kisses? What the fuck is happening?
Like when you were like, when you're changing a baby's diaper, you kind of blow a raspberry on their belly and make them laugh.
What the sex scene needed was fart noises, but we don't get any. We just see the top of Barry Bostwick's prodigious hair. And he's like, there's no way this can be really sexual because he's not near a sexual organ or anywhere that you would really gain pleasure. Once again, we're back to Jade, where someone is performing cunnilingus via their belly button. Like, that's not how sex works.
Well, I really love the hot tub scene later when Willem Dafoe, who is still alive.
Yes, very much.
He's doing his usual menacing Willem Dafoe thing, but really badly. He's not great here. No. It's like he expended all his energy on being creepy and To Live and Die in LA and like had nothing left to give this. He just sort of like smirks and looks like he's going to eat a child.
Yeah.
And that's about it. But there's a hot tub scene and his wife decides that she's going to hop in the hot tub with him. And so she's naked and he looks at her, he's like, "What are you doing?"
I don't know. Taking a jacuzzi next to your giant neon ice house thing on the wall. Like, that's playing it too. Like, they couldn't have been doing too badly. They have a giant indoor jacuzzi with an ice house neon sign inside. And it's also filmed from like half a football field away. I don't know why there's so much distance put between these two characters, a jacuzzi and the camera. but you can barely make out who's in the fucking scene.
He's just couldn't be more annoyed that his nude wife is attempting to join him in the jacuzzi.
Maybe he's annoyed at that. Maybe he's annoyed at the amount of sax that's playing after he's died. There's just an inordinate amount of sax being played. And then they receive a fucking phone call in the middle of it. And Barry Bostwick is now the opposite of them, where he's too close to the camera.
He's all like, love you, babe. On the phone, I'm
buenos noches. And there's just nothing whiter than Barry fucking Bostwick saying buenas noches. And I don't know if it's wild. And he's outdoors, but then all of a sudden, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. He's right behind them in his cable knit sweater, drowning William Dafoe.
Our second jacuzzi death.
Yes.
You know, I honestly think the seduction did a little better, gotta say.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Valentine did it better.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Valentine was a jacuzzi.
We've got 3 now.
Death too.
We've got a genuine trend, death in a jacuzzi, but he's not really dead. That's the other thing. Yeah.
No, because the wife tries to dispose of his body. He leaps up yet again.
They put it in the back of a truck, and then Emmett Walsh shows up, and he's like, I happen to be here at a very inconvenient time.
That's lady in a hurry.
Oh, she has places to go. Yeah, you didn't notice that naked arm hanging out of a fucking tarp? We need to check this man's eyeballs.
I do like that Willem Dafoe took the time to cover himself with the tarp before attacking her. He didn't do it completely naked.
He's wrapped it around himself like a lady who doesn't want to be nude after a sex scene.
I was gonna say, why are you being modest, Willem Dafoe?
There's no way Willem Dafoe, if he's at all naked, he's killing people while naked. That's a Willem Dafoe thing to me.
Yeah, he totally is. Yeah.
Or that tarp becomes magical pants. Or a bib overall like that. I can totally see from Streets of Fire, but this is very demurely tucked between his bosoms.
So he kills the wife, and before you say, or does he? He does.
Yeah, he totally does.
And this turns out to be some extremely elaborate plot between him and Barry Bostwick, who are not gay lovers. I wrote down, do we have a mousetrap
situation? Because then it would have been kind of cool. But this show does not have the courage of mousetraps.
This was an extremely heterosexual show, and
yes.
Understand. I mean, they didn't even have women getting it on with each other. It was this total, lady dude sex all the way.
Right.
But no, apparently, Barry Bostwick and the wife were having an affair, because he seems, vaguely put out that she's dead now.
But it was a means to an end, because they're cutting off the one person who could, get in the way of their money, I guess.
And then Willem Dafoe pours wine in a highball glass.
Yeah, but it's also the color of Hawaiian Punch.
It's totally Hawaiian Punch.
It's not the color of any wine I've come across lately. It doesn't take much to find wine. I don't know why they decided to put Mr. Pibb in glass, flat Mr. Pibb in a glass.
It was like jewel red.
Just so unnaturally red. And if it was for effect, didn't work. There's a lot of for effect moments in this that do not work, including a reading of Jeffrey Hunt's previous novels that he is not a good writer. He's fucking terrible.
We could see why he didn't make it in life.
No, he's a no good, no bueno noches for him. And the camera just spins the fuck around this reading. Like, don't you feel the drama ramping up? You're like, no, I'm getting seasick. And that lady in the muumuu should not be reading anyone else's work. She's terrible at it.
I think we talked about this I want to say we talked about the episode of The Fan, like fake book titles in movies, and like fake movie titles, and how they're, because I was a fan, because you pointed out that we'd be surprised at how many awful names a lot of TV shows and movies go through before they pick the one they eventually settle on. I forget, there was a book, and of course it was like this like plain gray jacket with black letters on it, like it's like no frills book.
Yes, it's something you would find in a used bookstore. You're like, people read this, and then he would just spit at it.
But I love at the end he's reading that like 4-page newspaper, and it's got his picture. It says, "Famous writer disappears." Yeah,
if he was famous,
was he famous or was he not?
Sounds like what they're kind of setting up is that he made a big splash with his first book and could never follow it up with anything as big, which, there have been plenty of authors who've been in that particular position. But if you can't be so bad at it that you need to fake your own death in order to be known again and be asked by a person, can I have your autograph on this book while you're trying to catch a ferry out of town, and you recently, quote unquote, died. That's an inconsistency that the hitchhiker has no fucking issue with. It just allows these things to happen.
Well, they also, speaking of the hitchhiker itself or himself or whatever, like the opening credits, like he's just walking in like this like desolate desert.
It's Death Valley. I know this because I've been to Death Valley this year.
Should anybody hitchhike in Death Valley? I'm guessing not.
Not with 3 layers and a leather fucking jacket on. I'll tell you that right now. That is not the place you need to layer when the sun is out.
Somewhere out there, there's like a withered skeleton with a leather jacket.
So my fingers have never been more crossed. They're practically shattering as I hope that he is a leather jacket clad skeleton somewhere on the side of the road in Death Valley.
A vulture's picking out his eyeball.
The next time I see Paige Flesher, he better be a skeleton in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland.
What, you don't like sexy Rod Sterling?
No, I don't. No, I don't particularly care to. There's something incredibly wrong with his eyes. They're not open, or they're too closed, but they're angled in such a way that he's like a confused Japanese anime character.
I think the phrase, I think what he's trying to go for is a phrase you often see in novels, in which someone has bedroom eyes.
His bedroom should be condemned. That's what it comes down to. There's all sorts of problems with that bedroom. The exact quote I have from one of his diatribes was, "They lived in a triangle of passion and deceit." So how much does a triangle like that cost per month? I mean, it's oceanfront property. It's got to be worth a certain amount. That's for sure.
Yeah. So Willem Dafoe basically pulls a Bo and Luke Duke by trying to leap his car over a bridge that is in the middle of lifting up, and he dies too. My kingdom, and it's weird to put this out on Patreon because obviously we don't have the full weight of our listenership, but my kingdom for a gif of his yell as he's driving off of that ferry is the one source of amusement I had the entire 26 minutes that I endured of this. Yeah, I love Willem Dafoe. I honestly think that he is one of our best living actors.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not so much in this.
No, this was, I'm trying to look up the exact air date. It is not listed on IMDb. When this, because he
premiered. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Platoon.
Yeah, this is January 7th, 1986.
Yeah, so this is before that. Yeah, this is after To Live and Die in LA, which he's quite good in.
Very, and he's a very effective in Streets of Fire.
Yeah, he's very charismatic. Not at all here.
No. This is, his hair is weirdly feathered. They're either too far away from him or way too close. And he doesn't appear to know his angles as well. I mean, they just don't care. The threesome who write every fucking episode of this must have like a box that they check off, because there truly is no dramatic impact from anything that happens. It's just stuff in a long sequence that happens.
Far be it for me to say these things should be longer. But this episode definitely could have used a little more fleshing out of the dynamics of this relationship between these three people.
Yeah.
I mean, virtually everything we know about them is it comes by way of expository dialogue, which is just the laziest fucking writing you could possibly do.
Yeah. It's because there's just not enough space. They all have to happen one after the other. So don't have the impact of one decision or the other. And they're not really like, it should be suspenseful when M. Emmett Walsh shows up at their doorstep and they're trying to dispose of a body. But because it has to happen in 90 seconds, there's just no room to breathe at all. And yet it spends so much time on weird establishing shots, or 2 minutes listening to a woman, read out loud the worst writing you've ever heard about I don't trust people who eat meat, but Hitler was a vegetarian. You're like, what the fuck is
some faux beat poetry, kind of like it's like, no wonder you didn't sell any books.
Yeah.
We should have picked on the other one with the voodoo cursed bride and groom dolls.
Well, there's always February. That could be. we could always do the Hitchhiker episode by episode. Talk about it after Hannibal's done.
Whatever. Until we run out of finding episodes on HBO, because on YouTube, because HBO Max ain't bringing back this shit.
No, they're not paying anyone's royalties for this. That is not happening. They've decided to let this die.
They don't have any. They don't have any of all that like adult stuff. Like they don't. Do you remember Real Sex?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you were like me and you watched that like, ew, I'm never doing any of that.
This is gross. They used to have a football show called Fourth and 40.
First and 10. That was the one that OJ was on for a little while.
Yeah.
There was that. Real Sex is the one that stands out to me because like they would have like, swingers, and they looked like what you would think of when you think of swingers.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, we're talking about masturbation. That's very naughty.
Very. This went on for 6 seasons over 8 years.
Yep.
And then I think Tales from the Crypt killed it.
Thank God.
Thank God it killed it.
Again, the only good thing it did was introduce a lot of impressionable, adolescents to sexuality on screen, where you didn't have to like watch through the static out adult locked Playboy channel.
Right.
Yeah, it was nice to get that little thrill. Like, I'm not supposed to be watching this, but it's on HBO. It must be okay.
Did you know at one point, Paige Fletcher, the original Hitchhiker, was replaced by Nicholas Campbell?
I do remember that. I do remember that, believe it or not. I'm constantly amazed at the weird, useless shit I remember. But yes, I do remember that.
I mean, the kind of like they would occasionally get people on who had done something or would do something, like Kirstie Alley, Shannon Tweed, Jill Hennessy was on there.
You've got the cursed bride and groom cake topper. You've got Bruce Greenwood, who actually went on to a pretty respectable acting career.
Oh yes, very exceedingly, and he's grown he's one of those people who aged so well.
Yeah.
That now you see Bruce Greenwood, you're like, oh, hey. Like Robert Vaughn, Sybil Danning, Michael O'Keefe, Tom Skerritt. Like, these are people who shouldn't be doing TV.
And
but
it
they
probably
would
shouldn't
show
be
up.
doing, and probably not doing TV where people are like getting naked around them.
Right. But, you know, they have mortgages just like anyone else. So I guess this was reasonably local, or maybe it filmed in Canada for all I know.
It pays better than being a failed writer of 6 novels and 3 short story collections. But who also can apparently afford a beachfront home with a jacuzzi.
Yes. Yes. Indoor jacuzzi. When you live near the beach, that seems odd to me.
When you get very annoyed when your nude wife attempts to join you in it.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I'm something of a jacuzzi enthusiast myself. Like, this acting performance is out the entire time he's on screen is outdone by when he gets smacked in the hand by Aunt May when he reaches for a marshmallow in the original Spider-Man. Like, he's better in that scene than any moment in this entire movie.
I don't know what went wrong here. This is probably one of the only times I could say that I've seen him in a bad performance, and maybe it's not that he's not trying. There's a difference between not trying and giving a bad performance. He's just bad here.
And he's not filmed in a way that you can feel any emotion from him. It's terribly done on almost every level.
Right. And he's a one-note villain, again, because we don't know anything about this character until this, extraordinarily convoluted fake suicide / murder / second murder plot goes underway. So I was like, was he always like this?
Was Barry Bostwick always like this? Was he always wearing coats so voluminous that they would flap behind him if he walks at a nice clip?
Is he pulling Barry Bostwick into this plot because he's blackmailing him because he was boning the wife? We don't know. We don't find that out.
No.
It's so much of it is just told, but not ever shown or explained.
It's also not helped by the fact that it sounds like a family is gathered together and a mom gets up in front of someone and says, "All right, everyone, Lionel Jr. is now going to play the Psycho theme on his new Casio."
Oh my God.
Everyone listen
Shameless.
Up. It's just
shameless.
I
mean, I was thinking about,
sue.
I was talking to someone about the movie Malignant and its heavy reliance deliberately on the Pixies' Where's My Mind for its theme, its score. But to me, that was very clever,
right?
Because it sort of hints at what happens in the movie.
And they're credited,
and they are credited, and it just kind of works. Here, it's just like, hey, remember Alfred Hitchcock? Like, I do remember Alfred Hitchcock.
He was better than this.
This is his most famous movie.
Like, it is terrible.
Alfred Hitchcock never had to have a new jacuzzi death scene in his movies.
Not for a lack of trying. He wanted to get there. Just everyone would hold him back. It was a breezy watch, and this is a very breezy episode because almost nothing happens in the 22 minutes except for all the plot.
No, there's one barely, you could barely call it a sex scene, which is disappointing for this, because usually that's, you could rely on that for the hitchhiker. Like, the kills aren't any good.
Yeah, I guess we're down to choose your own death venture. And that's where we decide of the deaths presented in this rather paltry episode of The Hitchhiker. If you were forced to die that way, which one would you choose and why? And of course, up for bid here, we have be thrown off a cliff into the rocky waters below, or you could be poisoned by Hawaiian Punch.
In a highball glass.
In a highball glass. And not notice that the other person is drinking when you've entered a murdered plot with them. I mean, okay. And then there's drive off the end of a ferry screaming with all your weird teeth until you hit the waters below. So Gina, what say you?
Oh, come on. It's gotta be the third one. Yeah, I just want people to hear like car go by me going, ah! Because like, the hell's going on there?
What? Why was that? Why was Gina just reading the front and back page of a newspaper?
Famous podcaster disappears.
Gina, will you sign my iPhone?
The picture of me, it looks like a mugshot for some reason.
Emmett Walsh increases his hot pursuit to a light increase of pace. I mean, Emmett Walsh has not run since 1975, and it shows. And he certainly does not run here. I'm going with Poisoned by Hawaiian Punch. 100%.
Well, you get a nice drawn out, like gasping, sweaty death scene.
Yeah.
With a very nice sweater.
And the really cool sweater. So, and I get to have Barry Bostwick's hair for a little while. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, he's still kind of in that Dilf era, so that's good.
Yeah. I don't want that close up though.
Well, no. Nobody knows how to shoot a close up on this show.
No, the director of this went on to do nothing, and before that, he had done nothing. And I mean, he made foreign films of a type.
Of a type.
A type I didn't care for, I guess.
I thought you were going to say they did like Swedish Stewardess go to Rome or something.
Swedish Stewardess go to Rome.
I mean, you're saying like you're like of a type.
Schenkel, Carl Schenkel.
Very, very heavily weighted words there.
The only thing on his entire resume, and the top of his filmography, is second unit or assistant director. So director, 19 credits below second unit director. So that's how wonderful he was thought of. He did direct an episode of The Profiler. So there's that. And the only one I really recognize is Night Moves from 1992 from my days at Blockbuster Video. During a chess tournament, a grandmaster is suspected of murdering Debbie after sex. He helps the police as murders continue. So,
could that go on our list for After Dark?
Yeah, I think that might be an After Dark. Yeah.
Is that Knight Moves or nighttime?
It's Knight.
Excellent.
Christopher Lambert, so you know it's going to be sexy. Tom Skerritt, with or without mustache, I don't know. I'm looking. Oh, Catherine Isabel, probably as a child.
I was going to say she had to have been like nun.
Yeah. And I think there. And Diane Lane, and Daniel Baldwin. Oh my God. Well, that takes all the sex appeal out of this. Yeah. So yes, I will add that to the After Dark bullpen because this looks really bad. It's I don't know, 6 stars out of 10, out of over 8,000 reviews.
Yeah, so. But the IMDb tends to be a little generous with their reviews.
Daniel Baldwin looks like Mr. Potato Head with a wig. That can't be good. Oh my God.
I always wonder what it would be like to be like Daniel Baldwin, with the other Baldwins. Remember him think about him bringing like a girlfriend home during college.
just all of them stealing her as well, occupying him with like, open my beer, Daniel. And that's how it goes. Just taking turns. Running her like a river. Cause
the same kind of confusion as like you go home to the Gyllenhaals for Thanksgiving.
Oh man.
Am I into men now? I don't know.
So yeah, that's The Hitchhiker. Everyone, don't watch it.
No, I mean, like I said, go for the very first episode is the one about the the voodoo cursed bride and groom cake topper. That was pretty wild. I remember the ending of it. Like I just saw it yesterday. If you can believe that shit. And
I can barely. There's always February.
I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but I remember the ending of The fucking Hitchhiker from 1986.
You need to clear your cache because
I do.
There's real space that could be used for better things.
I got way too many useless cookies stuck up there.
Oh, yeah. So that just about does it. Of course, at the end of the month, we'll have a Halloween 3 commentary for you. I can't wait to watch Halloween 3. It's been a minute. I'm excited.
I just watched it last month, but I'm still excited to see it anyway.
Yeah. And next month will be listener's choice. So, we've had some, Project Metal Beast was right up our alley. That was a good suggestion.
Maybe take it easy on the Barry Bostwick. I think we've had a medically advisable amount of Barry Bostwick over the past months.
Truly, I cannot take any. My doctors have warned me any more Bostwick, and I could be in serious trouble. So anything outside of Bostwick, we're available for. I think we our parameters. Anyways, that just about does it. Thank you so much for our Patreon. Do we have any new patrons? Or we had our big increase with
it's plateauing a little bit, but that's fine. I don't expect much this time of year because everybody is.
People have other. So thank you very much if you're still spending money on us.
Yeah.
When you could be spending money at so many other places, but you're keeping the lights on.
We do have a new patron, TJ Dayton.
Oh,
and
excellent.
We have Christina Spetnowski took a little break, but she's back with us. So we really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to all of you. You know what's coming up. Join us back on the main feed, and we may have some disruption around Christmas time. We may throw up an older Patreon episode simply because I of my travel schedule and work schedule has been kind of crazy, but we won't leave you completely hanging. Although patrons, you have all these episodes that you can listen to, so there's that as well. But thank you so much for your help and your time and attention in this very silly banner for myself and for Gina. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.